Have you ever felt like no one truly cares about your struggles, your dreams, or even your happiness? Do you find yourself constantly seeking approval from others, only to be left feeling empty and unfulfilled? What if the truth is, most people are too caught up in their own lives to notice yours? These are the questions we all face in our daily lives, yet very few stop to find the answers. Imagine this. You're working hard on a project, pouring your heart into it, expecting praise or recognition from others. But what happens? A few nods, maybe some shallow compliments, and then everyone moves on as if your efforts didn't matter. It's frustrating, isn't it? This is a reality many of us experience, and it leaves us questioning our worth. Now, think about this. If others don't care as much as we expect them to, why do we let their opinions control us? Why do we invest so much energy worrying about what they think? This constant cycle of seeking validation drains us and keeps us from focusing on what truly matters, our own growth and happiness. Here's a simple example. Picture yourself walking into a crowded room. You're worried about your outfit, your posture, and how people perceive you. But did you know that most people in that room are probably thinking the same thing about themselves? They're too busy with their own insecurities to notice yours. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we dive into life-changing insights rooted in ancient Buddhist wisdom. Today, we'll explore why shifting your focus inward is the ultimate key to happiness and success. But before we begin, a quick reminder. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel to stay connected with life-transforming content. Buddhism teaches us that seeking validation from others is like chasing a mirage. The more we run toward it, the further it moves away. The real power lies in turning inward, understanding ourselves, and building an unshakable foundation of self-worth. When you stop chasing approval, you start discovering your true self. You realize that your value isn't determined by someone else's opinion. Instead, it comes from your own actions, choices, and the peace you cultivate within. This isn't about shutting the world out or becoming selfish. It's about reclaiming your energy and using it to create a life that aligns with your purpose. Buddhism emphasizes the importance of mindfulness, being fully present in the moment without being swayed by the noise around you. In this journey, you'll face challenges. Letting go of the need for validation isn't easy. It takes time, patience, and a lot of self-reflection. But the rewards are immense: freedom, confidence, and a sense of fulfillment that no one can take away. The world often tells us to focus outward, on achievements, appearances, and social status. But Buddhism gently reminds us to look inward, where true happiness resides. It's not about ignoring the world. It's about approaching it from a place of strength and clarity. So today, take the first step. Start asking yourself, what do I want? What makes me happy? Begin to prioritize your needs, your dreams, and your peace. It's not selfish, it's necessary. Stay with us as we continue this transformative journey. Each part of this series will bring you closer to understanding yourself, letting go of negativity, and creating a life that truly fulfills you. Your time is now. Focus on you. Breaking free from external validation. Imagine, for a moment, you're standing in front of a mirror. You look at your reflection, and you're not just seeing your face. You're seeing all the judgments and opinions you've gathered over the years. You see the expectations of your family, the likes or dislikes of your friends, and even the silent approval or disapproval of strangers. Each of these reflections, each of these eyes, have shaped the way you view yourself. But what if these reflections are not the real you? What if they're just layers, like clouds hiding the sun? In life, we are taught to seek validation. From the moment we are born, society begins teaching us to gain approval, to make our parents proud, to earn the respect of our peers, to get the thumbs up from our bosses or teachers. The desire for approval becomes a part of us, a quiet whisper in our minds that tells us we need to be good enough for others. This, however, is not the way to true peace. External validation is like trying to catch the wind. It's fleeting, constantly shifting, and impossible to hold on to. Think about it. No matter how much you try to meet the expectations of others, there will always be someone who doesn't approve, someone who criticizes, or someone who simply doesn't notice your efforts. It's a never-ending cycle. You give, you perform, you please, and then you wait. But what do you get in return? Sometimes, nothing. Other times, just more expectations. But there's good news. The key to breaking free from this endless cycle lies in turning away from the need for validation and towards something much more stable, your own sense of self-worth. Your worth is not dependent on the fleeting opinions of others. In fact, when you rely on external validation to define who you are, you give your power away. You let others determine your value. But this is not the truth of who you are. Buddhism teaches that all external things, opinions, achievements, status, are temporary. They come and go, like waves crashing against the shore. The real power comes from within. Just as the ocean remains vast and still, no matter how turbulent the waves may be, you too can find inner stillness by turning inward and connecting with your true self. It's natural to want others to acknowledge your efforts. We all want to feel seen, to be recognized for our hard work, kindness, and intelligence. But when your happiness and sense of value depend on that recognition, you are always at the mercy of others. And this creates unnecessary suffering. The more you depend on others to tell you who you are, the less you will know yourself. So, how do you break free from this? First, it starts with awareness. Simply noticing when you are seeking validation from others is the first step. Ask yourself, why do I need their approval? What would happen if I didn't receive it? These questions can help you begin to separate your true self from the layers of external influences that have built up over time. Next, start to look inward. True validation comes from within. It's not about being perfect or meeting every expectation. It's about accepting yourself as you are, right here, right now. This doesn't mean you stop growing or improving. It means you stop measuring your worth based on how well you meet external standards. Instead, you measure it by the kindness you show yourself, by the courage you have to be authentic, and by the peace you find in your heart. Consider the Buddha. He was not concerned with the opinions of others. He did not seek fame or validation. Instead, he focused on understanding his own mind, on finding inner peace, and on helping others find the same. His teachings encourage us to look within, to trust our own wisdom, and to cultivate a deep sense of self-awareness. This is the true path to freedom. You may find that the more you turn inward, the more you will begin to value your own thoughts and feelings. You will notice that your self-worth is not contingent upon whether others approve of you. You start to realize that you can be content, independent of external praise or criticism. This is a powerful realization. When you stop seeking external validation, you free yourself from the chains of comparison and judgment. You begin to see yourself clearly, without the distortion of others' opinions. And in this clarity, you find peace. Your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, they all align with who you truly are, not who others think you should be. At first, this may feel strange. It's uncomfortable to stop seeking validation because it's what we've been taught to do our whole lives. But like any new habit, it takes time. It takes patience, and it requires a willingness to let go of old beliefs about yourself and the world. One simple way to begin is through the practice of mindfulness. By being present with yourself, without judgment, you can start to tune into your own needs and desires. You will begin to notice the moments when you are seeking approval from others, and in those moments, you can pause, breathe, and return to yourself. You can ask yourself, what do I want right now? What is my truth? This doesn't mean that you should ignore the feedback of others entirely. We live in a world where collaboration and communication are important. However, when you no longer rely on external validation to define who you are, you approach those interactions from a place of strength. You are able to listen to feedback, learn from it, and improve without letting it shake your sense of worth. As you grow in this awareness, you will find that your relationships with others become more authentic. You are no longer trying to be someone you are not in order to gain approval. Instead, you are showing up as your true self, vulnerable, authentic, and free. And this is what allows you to connect with others on a deeper level. In Buddhism, this process of self-discovery and inner peace is often referred to as the path to enlightenment. It's not a distant goal that only a few can reach. It's a journey that anyone can undertake, right here and now. It starts with breaking free from the need for validation, from the constant striving to be approved of, and begins with simply being at peace with who you are. Over time, This practice will transform you. You will find that you no longer feel the need to constantly prove yourself to others. You will no longer feel diminished by criticism or dependent on praise. You will feel free to be yourself in every moment, unafraid of what others think. In this freedom, you will find true happiness. Not the fleeting happiness that comes from external approval, but a deep, lasting happiness that comes from within. You will be able to live your life fully, without fear of judgment or the need to please others. This is the ultimate freedom, to be yourself, completely and unapologetically. So, as you move forward in life, remember this. True validation comes from within. When you stop seeking approval from others, you will find the space to truly know yourself. You will find the peace and happiness that come from being in alignment with your true nature. And in that peace, you will become free. This is the wisdom that Buddhism offers us. The wisdom to stop chasing approval, the wisdom to trust in our own worth, and the wisdom to find freedom in simply being. So, begin today. Let go of the need for external validation. Start trusting yourself, loving yourself, and embracing who you are. This is the path to true peace. The illusion of approval, lessons from Buddhism. In life, we often find ourselves caught in the web of seeking approval from others. We dress a certain way to impress, speak in a way that aligns with others' expectations, and even adjust our actions to fit what society thinks is right. But have you ever wondered why? Why do we so often care about what others think? The answer, according to Buddhism, lies in the illusion of approval, a powerful force that distorts our view of reality and keeps us trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction. Imagine, for a moment, that you are walking through a beautiful forest. The trees are tall and strong, their roots deeply connected to the earth. But all you can focus on is the small cloud of dust that follows you, the one that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of the forest. You ignore the solid ground beneath your feet, the birds singing around you, and the fresh air filling your lungs. Instead, you let that dust cloud dictate your every step, convincing you that you need to fix it, remove it, or control it. This cloud is like the illusion of approval. It distracts you from what truly matters, your own peace and contentment. When we seek approval from others, we are chasing that dust cloud. We are giving power to something that has no real substance. This constant striving for external validation pulls us away from the present moment, where true peace resides. Instead of focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and emotions, we waste energy on trying to please others or gain their acceptance. But the truth is, approval is fleeting. It's like the cloud in the forest. It's there for a moment, but it passes quickly. Buddhism teaches that true happiness and inner peace cannot be found in the approval of others. They can only be found by turning inward, connecting with our true selves, and understanding our own worth. In the Buddhist tradition, this is called self-realization. It's the process of looking beyond the surface and realizing that we are already whole. We don't need anyone's approval to be complete. One of the core teachings in Buddhism is the idea of emptiness. This doesn't mean that life has no meaning, but rather that everything is interconnected and impermanent. Our desire for approval is a form of attachment, a belief that we need something outside ourselves to feel worthy or validated. But just as clouds in the sky come and go, so do the opinions of others. They are not permanent. They are fleeting. And if we let them define us, we will forever be chasing something that will never fully satisfy us. Think about it. When was the last time you sought someone's approval and found lasting satisfaction in it? Maybe you received praise or recognition for your hard work. But did that feeling last forever? Chances are, it didn't. The moment that approval faded, so did your sense of fulfillment. This is the nature of external validation. It's temporary and unreliable. Now, imagine if, instead of seeking approval, you focused on cultivating inner peace. What if you spent your time understanding yourself, accepting your flaws, and appreciating your strengths? What if, instead of looking for others to validate your worth, you became your own source of approval? This is what Buddhism encourages us to do. It invites us to stop relying on others to tell us who we are and to start recognizing our own inherent value. It teaches us that the approval we seek from the outside world is just a distraction from the deeper work of self-discovery. The Buddha himself faced many challenges, including criticism and rejection from others. But instead of seeking validation or approval from the people around him, he turned inward. He meditated, practiced mindfulness, and came to understand that true peace comes from within. His journey was not about pleasing others. It was about discovering his true nature. In Buddhism, this concept is referred to as non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't mean that you don't care about others or that you don't care about success. It simply means that you don't cling to external outcomes for your sense of worth. You accept things as they are, knowing that everything is temporary, including the opinions of others. By practicing non-attachment, you free yourself from the endless cycle of seeking approval. You stop basing your worth on how others perceive you, and instead, you find your value in your own actions, thoughts, and feelings. You become more grounded, more confident, and more at peace with who you are. So, how can we begin to break free from the illusion of approval? The first step is awareness. Start paying attention to when you seek approval from others. Notice the times when you feel anxious or insecure because you're worried about how others see you. Once you're aware of these patterns, you can begin to shift your focus. The next step is self-compassion. Be kind to yourself, even when you don't meet others' expectations. Understand that you are enough, just as you are. Buddhism teaches us that self-compassion is essential for inner peace. When you stop criticizing yourself and start accepting yourself, you begin to release the need for external validation. Another important practice is mindfulness. By staying present in the moment and focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions, you stop giving power to the opinions of others. Instead of getting lost in the past or future, you learn to be fully engaged in the here and now. This practice helps you stay grounded and centered, regardless of external circumstances. Lastly, embrace impermanence. Understand that everything in life is constantly changing, including the opinions of others. What matters today may not matter tomorrow. By accepting the impermanence of external validation, you free yourself from the pressure to please others. When you no longer rely on approval from others, you become free. Free to live authentically. Free to pursue your passions without fear of judgment. Free to create a life that reflects your true values, not the expectations of those around you. In Buddhism, freedom is not about escaping the world. It's about finding peace within the world. It's about letting go of attachments and illusions and embracing the present moment. When you stop seeking approval, you discover the true essence of who you are. So, let go of the illusion of approval. Let go of the need to please others. Embrace your authentic self and live from a place of inner strength. This is the path to true freedom and happiness, the art of self-reliance and inner peace. To live a peaceful life, you must first understand that the greatest source of peace is not found outside, but within. It's easy to be distracted by the noise of the world, the opinions of others, the expectations that are placed upon us, the endless flow of thoughts that come and go. But the path to true peace starts when we realize that everything we need to find calm and happiness is already inside of us. Think of your mind as a clear pond. When there are no disturbances, the water is still, and everything beneath the surface is visible. But when the wind blows, or when a stone is thrown, the water becomes turbulent and clarity disappears. This is how our minds work. When we let the external world, other people's opinions, or even our own desires stir our thoughts, we lose the peace that lies beneath. But just like the pond, if we learn to calm the disturbances, the water will settle and the clarity will return. True self-reliance doesn't come from relying on the approval of others or the validation from external sources. It comes from understanding that the source of peace and strength is within you. Buddhism teaches us that we are all born with an innate wisdom, an inner knowing that guides us. Yet, over time, this wisdom gets buried under layers of societal pressure, expectations, and fear. The art of self-reliance is about peeling away these layers, one by one, until we uncover the pure, calm wisdom that resides at our core. When we are self-reliant, we are not dependent on the world to define who we are. We do not seek validation or approval from others because we have already found our worth within. We understand that we are enough, just as we are. This realization brings peace, because when you stop chasing after external things to make you feel complete, you begin to feel whole just by being yourself. Self-reliance also means taking responsibility for your own happiness. It's easy to blame others for our unhappiness or to feel like we are a victim of circumstances. But the truth is, only we have the power to control our own responses. In Buddhism, this is known as cultivating right intention. We choose how we respond to every situation, how we react to the world around us. And when we take responsibility for our own responses, we regain control over our emotions and our state of mind. This doesn't mean that life will always be easy or that we will never face hardships. In fact, Buddhism teaches us that suffering is a natural part of life. But by cultivating self-reliance, we can face challenges with a sense of inner peace. When we are connected to our inner strength, we are no longer at the mercy of external events. Instead, we can navigate life's challenges with calm and grace, knowing that we have the wisdom and strength to handle whatever comes our way. An important aspect of self-reliance is learning to trust yourself. Many people spend their lives doubting their own abilities, seeking guidance from others even when they know deep down what the right decision is. But the more we trust ourselves, the stronger we become. This doesn't mean we should ignore the advice of others or stop learning. It simply means that we should have faith in our own judgment, and when we make decisions, we should do so with confidence. When you start trusting yourself, you begin to take charge of your own life. You stop waiting for someone else to tell you what to do or to give you permission to follow your dreams. Instead, you take the first step toward creating the life you want, knowing that you have the strength to overcome any obstacles that come your way. Self-reliance also involves embracing the present moment. Too often, we get caught up in regrets about the past or worries about the future. These distractions take us away from the present, where peace can be found. But when we learn to be fully present, to live in the now, we tap into a source of strength that is always available to us. Buddhism teaches that the present moment is all we truly have. The past is gone, the future is uncertain, but the present is where life happens. And when we live fully in the present, we find the peace that comes from simply being. One of the most powerful practices in Buddhism is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present and aware of what is happening in each moment, without judgment or distraction. By practicing mindfulness, we learn to quiet the chatter of the mind and focus our attention on the present moment. This practice helps us to cultivate inner peace, because when we are mindful, we are not at the mercy of our thoughts or emotions. Instead, we observe them from a place of calm detachment, and this detachment allows us to choose how we respond. Another key aspect of self-reliance is learning to let go of attachment. We often become attached to things, people, possessions, success, and when these things are threatened, we experience fear, anxiety, or frustration. But in Buddhism, attachment is seen as a source of suffering. The more we cling to something, the more it has the power to control us. By learning to let go of attachment, we free ourselves from the cycle of craving and disappointment. We realize that true happiness does not come from external things, but from within. And when we let go of attachment, we open ourselves to the peace that comes from knowing that we are enough, with or without external validation. Letting go of attachment doesn't mean we stop caring about people or things, but rather that we stop relying on them for our happiness. We learn to appreciate what we have without clinging to it, and we develop a sense of gratitude for the present moment, just as it is. When we let go of attachment, we begin to experience freedom. The freedom to live without fear of losing what we have, and the freedom to enjoy life fully, without holding on too tightly. Finally, self-reliance is about cultivating a deep sense of self-compassion. Many people are quick to judge themselves harshly, to criticize themselves for their mistakes, or to feel unworthy of love and happiness. But Buddhism teaches that we must treat ourselves with the same kindness and compassion that we would offer to a dear friend. When we are kind to ourselves, we create a safe space within where we can heal, grow, and thrive. Self-reliance and inner peace are not something that can be achieved overnight. It takes time, patience, and practice. But with each step we take towards self-reliance, we move closer to the peace that lies within us. And as we cultivate this inner peace, we become more resilient, more confident, and more capable of navigating the challenges of life. The art of self-reliance is the key to living a life of calm, clarity, and contentment. It is a path that leads not only to peace, but to a deeper understanding of who we truly are. Why comparison is the thief of joy. In the journey of life, there is one enemy that steals more joy than anything else: comparison. It creeps in silently, like a shadow, and before we realize it, we are trapped in its grasp. We begin comparing ourselves to others, the way they look, the way they live, the success they have achieved. But does this bring us peace? Does this bring us happiness? No, it only brings dissatisfaction, confusion, and sorrow. Every time we compare ourselves to someone else, we lose a piece of our own peace. We start to feel inadequate, as if we are not good enough, as if we are lacking something essential. But the truth is, you are not supposed to be like anyone else. You are not meant to walk their path. Your journey is yours alone, and it is as unique as you are. Buddhism teaches us that comparison is a form of attachment. We attach ourselves to an image of what we think we should be based on what others are doing or what society tells us. This attachment creates suffering because we are constantly measuring ourselves against an ideal that may not even be real. The person you compare yourself to may not be as happy as they appear, or they may not have the peace of mind you desire. Their path is their own, just as yours is yours. Let us look at the simple example of two flowers growing side by side in a garden. One flower might be taller, the other smaller. But neither flower has any reason to envy the other. Both are beautiful in their own way, simply by being what they are. They do not need to compare themselves to one another. They do not measure their worth based on the other's height or color. They are content in their own growth. Now, think of yourself as one of those flowers. You do not need to be taller or brighter than anyone else. You do not need to have the same accomplishments or the same life circumstances. Your worth is not based on how you measure up to someone else. Just as the flower is beautiful because it grows naturally in its own way, you are valuable for who you are, not for how well you compare to others. But in the world we live in, comparison is encouraged. Social media, advertisements, even casual conversations, it all seems to tell us that we are not enough as we are. We need to be like someone else. We need to have more, do more, and be more. This constant pressure weighs heavy on our hearts. We forget that our true happiness does not come from what others have or what others do. It comes from within, from acceptance and contentment with who we are. In Buddhism, there is a practice called mindfulness. Mindfulness helps us become aware of our thoughts and our feelings without judging them. When we feel the urge to compare ourselves to others, mindfulness helps us pause. We observe the thought without reacting. We realize that the thought of comparison does not define us. It is just a thought, a passing cloud in the sky of our mind. By practicing mindfulness, we can learn to let go of the need to compare. We can return to the present moment and focus on what truly matters, our own growth and peace. Imagine that you are standing at the edge of a river. You see the water flowing rapidly, carrying leaves, branches, and debris with it. The river is like the flow of life. Comparison is like trying to catch every leaf and branch that passes by, thinking that by holding on to them, you will find peace. But you cannot hold on to everything that passes. If you try, you will only be swept away by the current. Instead, let the leaves float by. Let the branches pass without clinging to them. By doing so, you can stay grounded and calm, watching the flow of life without being carried away by it. When you stop comparing, you begin to see yourself more clearly. You stop measuring your life against the false standards of others. You start to appreciate your unique qualities and strengths. You start to recognize the beauty in your own path, however different it may be from someone else's. You begin to see that your life has its own rhythm, its own flow, and that is enough. This is not to say that we should never admire others or learn from them. It is natural to be inspired by the achievements and qualities of others. However, inspiration is different from comparison. Inspiration motivates us to grow, but comparison only discourages us. When we are inspired by others, we can admire their qualities without wishing to be like them. We can learn from their strengths without feeling that we are lacking in some way. Let us return to the metaphor of the flower. Imagine now that you are not just observing the flowers, but you are one of them. You are growing in the soil, stretching towards the sunlight, reaching your own unique height. The other flowers around you are also growing, each in their own way. Some may grow taller, some shorter. Some may bloom more quickly, while others take their time. But none of them are competing with each other. They simply grow as they are, with patience and without judgment. This is how you should approach your life. Grow in your own time, at your own pace, and let go of the need to compare. Buddhism teaches us that suffering arises when we are attached to the idea of how things should be. We may compare our current state to the image we have in our minds of how we think we should be, and when we fall short of that image, we suffer. But true peace comes when we let go of these expectations. We accept ourselves as we are, in the moment, and we begin to see that we are already enough. So, how can you stop comparing? First, be aware of when it happens. Notice the thoughts that arise in your mind, the ones that make you feel less than or inferior. Recognize these thoughts for what they are, just thoughts. They do not define you. They are fleeting, like clouds passing through the sky. When you catch yourself comparing, gently bring your focus back to the present moment. Remind yourself that you are on your own path, and that path is worthy. Your worth does not depend on anyone else's life, and your happiness is not determined by what others have or achieve. Next, practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Recognize that you are doing the best you can with what you have. Life is not a competition, and you are not in a race with anyone. Your journey is unique, and every step you take is part of your own growth. Celebrate your progress, however small it may seem. Each step is a victory. Finally, embrace the idea of non-attachment. In Buddhism, non-attachment does not mean that we stop caring about anything. It means that we let go of our attachment to specific outcomes or expectations. We allow ourselves to enjoy life as it comes, without the need for comparisons. We accept both the good and the bad with equanimity, knowing that each moment is part of the greater whole of our journey. When you stop comparing, you free yourself from the constant cycle of dissatisfaction. You no longer need to measure your life against someone else's. You begin to find contentment in the present moment, in your own unique experience. You realize that the only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. And when you focus on being the best version of yourself, without comparing to others, you open the door to true happiness. Remember, comparison is the thief of joy. It steals your peace, your confidence, and your sense of worth. Let go of comparison, and you will find the joy that has been waiting for you all along. Cultivating self-compassion and personal growth. The first step toward true personal growth begins with a gentle recognition of our own humanity. We all make mistakes, we all fall short at times. But what is most important is how we respond to ourselves in these moments. Imagine you are walking along a path, and you stumble. You fall to the ground, and for a moment, everything feels dark. The pain is sharp, and you wonder if you will ever get back up. But then, you pause. Instead of criticizing yourself, berating yourself for being weak or foolish, you offer yourself kindness. You acknowledge the pain, but you also recognize your strength in continuing. You gently pick yourself up and keep moving forward. This is the essence of self-compassion. In Buddhism, there is a saying, "May I be free from suffering. May I be at peace." These words are not just for others. They are for you, too. In times of struggle, remember to show yourself the same kindness you would show a dear friend. When you stumble, offer yourself the compassion to heal. When you feel lost, offer yourself the patience to find your way again. Self-compassion is not about indulgence or letting yourself off the hook for mistakes. It's about recognizing your limitations with gentleness, about understanding that everyone is on a journey. Just as we don't judge others for their imperfections, we should not judge ourselves so harshly either. We are all human, and we are all doing our best in a world that often feels overwhelming. Think of a plant. When it struggles to grow, you do not scold it. You give it water, sunlight, and time. You care for it, and you trust that, with the right conditions, it will bloom. In the same way, you must care for yourself. Growth takes time, patience, and nourishment. It's not about forcing yourself to be something you are not. It's about accepting where you are and moving forward at your own pace. Self-compassion is essential for growth. Without it, we risk stagnation. When we are constantly critical of ourselves, we drain our energy, leaving little room for improvement. On the other hand, when we embrace ourselves with kindness, we open the door to real transformation. The more compassionate we are with ourselves, the more capable we become of learning from our mistakes and making lasting changes. Personal growth is not an overnight achievement. It is a journey of continuous self-discovery, one step at a time. It's about recognizing where we are, accepting where we've been, and making a conscious choice to grow. In Buddhism, the concept of right effort is central. It is the practice of putting forth the right amount of energy in the right direction. It is not about pushing ourselves to the point of exhaustion, nor is it about being too passive. It is about balance, about striving for improvement while accepting that we are always in the process of becoming. When we approach our growth with self-compassion, we give ourselves the space to learn without fear of failure. Failure is not the end. It is a stepping stone, a lesson in disguise. Each time we fall, we have the opportunity to rise again with more wisdom, more understanding, and more strength. One key aspect of self-compassion is mindfulness. When you are mindful, you are present with yourself, truly experiencing your thoughts, feelings, and actions. This awareness allows you to see yourself more clearly and to treat yourself with the love and care you deserve. Mindfulness helps us pause before reacting, allowing us to choose kindness over harshness. Consider a simple practice. When you notice yourself being critical or judgmental, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what would I say to a friend in this situation? Imagine speaking to yourself with the same warmth, encouragement, and understanding you would offer someone you care about deeply. This small shift can have a profound impact on how you view yourself and your growth process. It is also important to remember that personal growth often involves change, and change can be uncomfortable. The journey of growth asks us to face our fears, doubts, and uncertainties. But when we approach these challenges with self-compassion, we find the courage to keep going. We understand that discomfort is a natural part of the process, and we do not need to fear it. As you continue on your path, remember that personal growth is not about perfection. It is about progress. Every small step you take, every lesson you learn, and every moment you choose to treat yourself with kindness adds up. Over time, these small actions build a foundation for lasting change. With patience, you will begin to see the fruits of your efforts, peace, clarity, and a deeper connection with yourself. Self-compassion also means giving yourself permission to rest. Growth is not a constant state of doing. It is okay to take a step back, to pause and recharge. In Buddhism, rest is seen as a necessary part of the journey. Without rest, we burn out. Without time for stillness, we lose touch with our true selves. By honoring your need for rest, you allow yourself to return to your journey with renewed energy and perspective. In your moments of rest, reflect on how far you have come. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem. Each step forward is a victory. And when you face challenges, remind yourself that these are not setbacks, but opportunities for growth. Each challenge carries a lesson, and each lesson brings you closer to becoming the person you are meant to be. In the quiet moments of self-reflection, ask yourself, what do I need in this moment to nurture my growth? It may be time, patience, support, or simply a gentle reminder that you are enough. Whatever it is, offer it to yourself with the same care you would offer a loved one. Self-compassion is the foundation of personal growth. Without it, we remain trapped in cycles of self-criticism and fear. But with it, we create a fertile ground for growth, where our mistakes are not failures, but opportunities for learning and evolution. We give ourselves the space to grow into the fullest versions of ourselves, and in doing so, we transform not only our own lives but the world around us. So, as you continue on your journey, remember this. You are worthy of kindness. You are worthy of compassion. You are worthy of growth. Treat yourself with the same love and respect you give to others, and watch as your life unfolds with the grace and beauty that comes from within. With self-compassion, everything is possible. And remember, the path to growth is not about rushing. It is about taking one step at a time, with patience and love, towards the person you are becoming. Letting go of societal expectations. Imagine yourself standing in the middle of a bustling city. People are walking quickly, caught in their own worlds, rushing to meet deadlines and conforming to expectations. The pressure is palpable, yet you stand still, watching them, wondering, why do they seem so anxious? Why do they keep chasing things they don't really want? Society teaches us that success looks a certain way. It defines happiness through material wealth, career achievements, and social recognition. The world tells us that to be accepted, to be valued, we must follow these rules, tick these boxes. And so we race. We try to fit into a mold that doesn't truly align with who we are. But in doing so, we forget something very important. The life we are living is not our own. It's a life shaped by external expectations. Letting go of societal expectations is one of the hardest things to do, but it's also one of the most liberating. The world will always have its definitions of success, but that doesn't mean you need to follow them. The Buddhist path teaches us that true freedom comes when we stop trying to live up to others' ideals. In Buddhism, there is a concept called dukkha, often translated as suffering. This suffering arises when we try to force things that do not align with our true nature. When we chase after things we think we should want, because society says so, there is a constant sense of emptiness, an unspoken ache inside. It's the feeling that no matter what we achieve, it doesn't feel quite right. The Buddhist way is about embracing dukkha as a part of life, and in doing so, finding peace by letting go of these false ideas of success. Now, think about a time when you achieved something that others admired, yet you still felt incomplete. You checked all the boxes. You did what you were supposed to do. But did you feel fulfilled? Maybe for a moment, there was a sense of accomplishment. But soon after, the feeling faded, and the pursuit of the next success began. This is the cycle of societal expectations, an endless chase for things that don't fill the soul. Letting go of these expectations requires great courage, but it's a step toward personal liberation. When you free yourself from the pressures of others' desires for you, you begin to listen to your inner voice, the one that's always been there, waiting for you to acknowledge it. This voice doesn't care about what society says. It cares about what's true for you. It's the voice of your authentic self. Buddhism teaches us to be mindful of our attachments. We are often attached to ideas, roles, and outcomes. These attachments, especially to societal approval, create tension and inner conflict. We fight for acceptance, for recognition, all while losing sight of what really matters, our own peace and happiness. The moment we let go of these attachments, we begin to feel lighter, freer, and more connected to our true essence. This doesn't mean we abandon the world around us or stop participating in society. It simply means that we no longer let the world define who we are or dictate what we should want. We start to create our own path, one that feels true and right for us, regardless of what others might think. At the heart of letting go of societal expectations is the practice of self-compassion. When you stop judging yourself based on external standards, you begin to treat yourself with kindness. You forgive yourself for not living up to everyone's idea of perfection. You accept that you are enough as you are. This is a powerful shift. So, how do we begin this process of letting go? Start by asking yourself, what do I truly want? Not what your family, friends, or society say you should want, but what you want. Ask yourself what brings you peace, what feels fulfilling, and what brings you joy without the pressure of achievement or approval. Then, examine your life. Look at the things you're holding on to, whether it's a career path, a relationship, or a lifestyle, that are influenced more by societal expectations than by your own desires. Are they bringing you joy, or are they simply fulfilling a role that was never meant for you? It's time to release these attachments. Let go of the need to please others. In Buddhism, there is a concept of non-attachment. This doesn't mean detaching from life or the world. It means releasing the grip we have on things, people, and outcomes. We learn to let things flow without forcing them to fit into predetermined expectations. When we practice non-attachment, we stop feeling the weight of societal pressure on our shoulders. We start to feel lighter, freer, and more alive. Letting go of societal expectations is also about embracing the impermanence of life. Everything in this world is constantly changing, and the more we resist this change, the more we suffer. The more we try to control how things should be, the more we create conflict within ourselves. Buddhism teaches us to accept the impermanence of life, to embrace change as a natural part of the process. When we accept this, We can let go of the need to hold on to outdated ideas of success and happiness. As you begin to release these expectations, you will notice a shift. You will feel more grounded, more at peace. You'll begin to realize that your worth is not defined by your job title, the amount of money in your bank account, or the approval of others. Your worth comes from within, from the way you live your life with integrity, kindness, and purpose. The process of letting go is not instantaneous. It's a journey, a practice that requires patience, self-awareness, and self-compassion. But each step you take brings you closer to the freedom and peace that come from living authentically. As you continue on this path, remember that you are not alone. We all face societal pressures. But through mindfulness, we can break free from these expectations and discover the peace that comes from living a life that is true to who we are. In the end, the greatest liberation comes from within. When we stop measuring our lives against the standards set by society, we open ourselves to a deeper, more fulfilling existence. This is the path of true freedom, building inner strength through mindfulness. To begin, imagine sitting by a quiet river. The water flows gently, uninterrupted by the noise of the world. Now, picture your mind like this river. Thoughts, emotions, and distractions come and go like the ripples on the surface, but underneath, there is peace, stillness, and clarity. This is the essence of mindfulness, a practice that helps us connect with our true selves and build an unshakable inner strength. Mindfulness is the art of being present. It is the ability to notice the small moments, the sensation of your breath, the feeling of the ground beneath your feet, or the taste of a meal. It is not about controlling your thoughts or pushing them away, but simply observing them without attachment or judgment. In our busy world, it's easy to become overwhelmed by distractions. Our minds are often filled with endless chatter, worries about the future, regrets about the past, and the constant pull of technology. But mindfulness teaches us to stop for a moment, breathe, and be fully present in what is happening right now. It reminds us that we don't have to chase after every thought or emotion. We can simply let them flow by, like leaves floating on a river. This simple act of paying attention to the present moment brings us back to our center. It reminds us that we don't need to search for happiness outside of ourselves. It is already here, in the quiet space between our thoughts. But how does this relate to building inner strength? In Buddhism, we are taught that the mind is the source of both our suffering and our peace. When we allow our thoughts and emotions to control us, we become like a leaf in the wind, tossed about by every gust that comes our way. However, when we practice mindfulness, we learn to become the river itself, calm, steady, and unshaken by external forces. The practice of mindfulness builds inner strength by helping us cultivate patience, clarity, and self-awareness. Patience is the ability to wait without frustration. Clarity allows us to see situations as they truly are, without distortion from our emotions. Self-awareness helps us understand the patterns of our mind, so we can break free from habits that no longer serve us. Let's take a moment to explore these qualities in more detail. Patience is often misunderstood. It is not simply waiting for something to happen or enduring difficult situations. True patience comes from the understanding that everything unfolds in its own time. When we practice mindfulness, we learn to be present with whatever arises, without rushing or resisting. We trust that the present moment is enough. Clarity is the ability to see things as they are, without the fog of judgment or expectation. When we are caught in our emotions or our stories, we often misinterpret situations. But mindfulness helps us clear away this mental clutter, allowing us to see the truth of what is happening. This clarity brings peace, because when we understand things as they truly are, we no longer need to fear or avoid them. Self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth. Through mindfulness, we become aware of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. We begin to notice the habits that limit us, such as negative self-talk or the need for approval from others. Once we become aware of these patterns, we can choose to let them go. The power of mindfulness lies in its ability to transform our relationship with ourselves. By cultivating these qualities, we stop seeing ourselves as victims of circumstance. Instead, we begin to see ourselves as powerful, capable, and in control of our responses. This is the essence of inner strength. Building inner strength through mindfulness is not about becoming perfect or free from challenges. It's about developing a deeper sense of resilience, a quiet, unshakable strength that comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. One of the most powerful aspects of mindfulness is its ability to bring us back to the present moment. When we are fully present, we stop worrying about the past or the future. We stop judging ourselves for mistakes we've made or fearing what might happen next. We realize that the only moment we truly have is this one, and in this moment, we have everything we need to be at peace. A simple way to begin practicing mindfulness is to take a few moments each day to focus on your breath. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and then slowly exhale. Feel the air entering and leaving your body. Notice how your chest rises and falls with each breath. This is the beginning of mindfulness, paying attention to the present moment without judgment or distraction. As you continue to practice mindfulness, you may notice that your mind begins to settle. The constant chatter may quiet down, and you may feel more centered and at ease. This is because mindfulness helps us detach from our thoughts. We begin to see them as fleeting, temporary things, like clouds passing in the sky. The more we practice, the stronger our inner peace becomes. Just like a muscle that gets stronger with exercise, our ability to stay calm and focused grows with each mindful moment. Over time, this practice can become a natural part of your life, helping you navigate challenges with grace and ease. In Buddhism, mindfulness is not just a practice, it is a way of life. It is the foundation of wisdom, compassion, and understanding. By being present in each moment, we cultivate a deep awareness of ourselves and the world around us. This awareness helps us respond to situations with clarity and compassion, rather than reacting out of habit or fear. As you continue to build your inner strength through mindfulness, you will begin to notice a shift in how you approach life. You will become more resilient in the face of challenges, more compassionate toward yourself and others, and more aware of the beauty in the present moment. Remember, the journey of mindfulness is not about achieving perfection. It is about learning to be fully present with whatever arises and trusting that in each moment, we have the power to choose how we respond. In the next part of this series, we will explore how mindfulness can help us detach from the constant pull of external validation and create a life that is truly our own. For now, take a deep breath and appreciate the peace that comes from simply being present. This is the power of mindfulness, building inner strength, one moment at a time. Aligning with your true purpose. When we seek to align with our true purpose, it is like walking through a dense fog that slowly begins to clear. At first, the path seems uncertain, and our steps are hesitant. But as we continue, a sense of clarity emerges, and the way forward becomes more apparent. This is what happens when we begin to listen to the inner voice within us, the one that has been drowned out by the noise of the world for so long. The world will often tell us what we should do, what we should want, and how we should be. But these voices are not our own. They are the voices of others, society, family, friends, and even strangers, projecting their expectations onto us. To find our true purpose, we must learn to silence these external influences and listen to the quiet whisper within. Buddhism teaches us that each person has an inherent nature, a path that is uniquely theirs. It is not something we find in the world. It is something we uncover within ourselves. This discovery is not a sudden event, but a gradual process of letting go. Letting go of the need for approval, letting go of the fear of failure, and letting go of the attachments that bind us to a life we don't truly desire. Aligning with your true purpose begins with understanding who you are. Not who you are in the eyes of others, but who you are when no one is watching, when there are no expectations, and when you are free to simply be. This is the essence of mindfulness, the practice of being fully present with yourself, without judgment or distraction. As we journey along this path, we may encounter doubts and fears. These are natural companions on the road to self-discovery. Doubt often arises when we are about to step outside of our comfort zone, and fear creeps in when we are faced with uncertainty. But remember, these emotions are not enemies. They are signals. They remind us that we are on the edge of growth, and growth requires us to step into the unknown. When we align with our true purpose, we begin to feel a deep sense of peace. This peace is not born from external success or approval. It is born from within, from the knowing that we are walking the path that is uniquely ours. It is the peace of knowing that we are no longer living for others, but for ourselves. To align with your purpose, you must first ask yourself, what brings me joy? What makes me feel alive? These questions are not about what the world expects of you. They are about what your heart longs for. In the stillness of your mind, listen for the answers. They may come softly, like a breeze, or they may emerge as a loud and clear voice. Trust that the answers are there, waiting for you to notice. When you begin to align with your true purpose, you may feel a sense of resistance. This is natural. We have been conditioned to follow the path laid out by others, and stepping away from that path can feel uncomfortable. But this discomfort is the key to growth. Every time you step outside of your comfort zone, you stretch yourself a little further. And in that stretching, you find new strength, new clarity, and a new sense of purpose. Buddhism speaks of the middle way, a path of balance that avoids the extremes of indulgence and denial. Aligning with your true purpose is not about pursuing perfection or fame. It is about finding the balance between your inner desires and the needs of the world around you. Your purpose is not about grand gestures or achievements. It is about living in harmony with yourself and the world. As you move forward on this journey, remember that it is not about reaching a destination. The path itself is the purpose. The act of aligning with your true self is the reward. Each step you take brings you closer to the person you were always meant to be. To live in alignment with your purpose is to live authentically. It is to express yourself freely without fear of judgment or criticism. It is to create a life that is truly yours, not one that is shaped by the expectations of others. This is the beauty of self-discovery. It is a lifelong journey that never truly ends. Each day brings new opportunities to learn, to grow, and to align even more deeply with your true nature. In Buddhism, the concept of Dharma refers to the path of righteousness or the true nature of existence. To live in alignment with your purpose is to live in accordance with your Dharma. It is to follow the path that is meant for you, not because someone else told you to, but because it resonates deeply within you. When you walk this path, you will encounter challenges, but these challenges are not obstacles. They are part of the process of growth. The more you align with your true purpose, the more you will feel a sense of flow in your life. Things will begin to fall into place naturally. People who support your journey will appear, opportunities will present themselves, and you will begin to experience a deep sense of fulfillment. This is not coincidence. This is the result of living in harmony with your purpose. To live aligned with your true purpose is to embrace change. Life is constantly shifting, and as you evolve, so too will your understanding of your purpose. The journey of self-discovery is not static. It is fluid. And just as a river flows and adapts to the landscape, so too must you adapt and flow with the changes in your life. One of the most powerful aspects of aligning with your true purpose is that it brings a sense of inner peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. When you are aligned with your purpose, you no longer need validation from others because you are already validated by the deepest part of yourself. This inner validation is unshakable and can weather any storm. As you continue on this path, remember that the journey is as important as the destination. Aligning with your true purpose is not about achieving a particular goal. It is about living in accordance with your deepest values and desires. When you do this, you will find that the external world begins to reflect your inner truth. It is also important to remember that alignment does not mean perfection. There will be times when you stray from your path, times when you feel lost or unsure. This is part of the process. It is through these moments of uncertainty that we learn the most about ourselves. And when we return to our purpose, we do so with greater wisdom and strength. The key to alignment is to remain open, to listen to the stillness within, to follow the whispers of your heart, and to trust the journey, no matter how it unfolds. The more you practice this, the more effortless it becomes. Eventually, you will find that your purpose is no longer something you seek. It is something you live. In the end, aligning with your true purpose is a deeply personal journey. It is not something that can be defined by others, but something that must be discovered within. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. But it is the most worthwhile journey you can undertake. For when you align with your true purpose, you align with the very essence of who you are. And in that alignment, you will find the peace, fulfillment, and joy that have always been yours to claim. Living fully focused on yourself. A conclusion. Ah, my friend, you have walked this path with patience and heart. From the first step of realizing that others may not care as much as you think, to the deep wisdom of focusing on yourself, you have arrived at the final lesson. Let us take a moment to reflect together. Do you now see? The world is noisy, full of distractions, opinions, and expectations. But within you, there is a quiet place, a refuge. That place is your true self, untouched by the chaos around you. It is here that you must focus. Many people live their lives chasing shadows. They run after approval, recognition, and validation, only to find that these things slip through their fingers like sand. You, however, have learned the truth. You have seen through the illusion. The only approval you need is your own. The only recognition that matters is the recognition of your own worth. Buddhism teaches us that the root of suffering is attachment. When we cling to the need for others to care, we bind ourselves to disappointment. But when we release that attachment, we find freedom. Let go of the weight, my friend. Set yourself free. To live fully focused on yourself is not selfish. It is wise. Think of a tree. It does not grow by seeking approval from the forest. It grows by sending its roots deep into the earth, drawing nourishment from within. You, too, must root yourself in your own strength. But what does it mean to focus on yourself? It means listening to your inner voice, even when the world shouts at you. It means honoring your needs, your dreams, and your boundaries. It means being your own guide, your own cheerleader, your own protector. Some may misunderstand you. They may call you self-centered or uncaring. Do not be swayed by their words. Remember, their opinions are theirs to carry, not yours. You are not responsible for their misunderstandings. You are responsible only for your own peace. Let me tell you a story. A monk once asked his teacher, "Master, how can I find peace when others judge me?" The master replied, "If someone hands you a gift, but you do not take it, to whom does it belong?" The monk said, "It remains with the giver." The master smiled and said, "Then let their judgment remain with them. It does not belong to you." This is the way. Let go of what does not serve you. Focus on what truly matters, your growth, your purpose, your joy. You may wonder, but what about others? Shouldn't I care for them? Yes, my friend, care for others, but do not lose yourself in the process. Help others, but not at the cost of your own well-being. Love others, but do not forget to love yourself. When you are strong and centered, you can give more to the world. Your kindness will flow from abundance, not exhaustion. Your love will be pure, not desperate. This is the balance that Buddhism teaches, a life of compassion and wisdom, rooted in self-focus. Now, as we conclude this journey, let us reflect on what you have gained. You have learned to let go of the need for validation. You have embraced the power of mindfulness and self-awareness. You have discovered the joy of living authentically, without fear of judgment. This is not the end, my friend. It is a beginning. The wisdom you have gained is a seed. Nurture it. Let it grow. Let it guide you in every step you take. Remember, the path is not always easy. There will be moments of doubt, moments when the noise of the world tries to pull you back. But you are stronger now. You have the tools, the knowledge, the clarity. Use them. Take time each day to sit with yourself in stillness. Listen to your heart. Breathe deeply. Be present. This simple practice will keep you connected to your inner peace, no matter what life brings. And now, a humble request. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. If this journey has brought you even a moment of clarity or inspiration, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let us grow together as a community of wisdom seekers. As we part ways, know this: you are enough. You have always been enough. Focus on yourself, not because the world doesn't care, but because you do. Your life is precious, your journey is unique, and your potential is limitless. Go forth with confidence. Go forth with peace. And above all, go forth with love for yourself. This is the way. This is your path. The journey of self-focus is a lifelong one, but it is a journey worth taking. Thank you for walking this path with wisdom woven. Until we meet again, stay true to yourself and let your light shine brightly in this world.